Hi, welcome to Tea Time with Amie and Bev. Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
Never meant anything more than today. 2/22/22. Is that cool or what?
Super cool.
Never see that again in our lifetime.
Nope. Well, nope. I was going to say, I don't know. I wanted to be here for a long time, so we'll see.
We'll see.
That'll be a few extra years.
Might be a bit.
But in the meantime, we just enjoy every moment.
That's it. I was listening to Ed Milet's podcast today, and he was talking to Robin Sharma, something like that. Anyway, they were talking about how we look at the time that we have here on Earth, and that, you know, if you put it in the terminology of I have 40 Christmases left, right? Within the idea that this is how many birthdays I might have. It could be longer than that, but the idea that when you put it in the terms of those numbers, it gives you a different perspective than saying, 40 years. I mean, that's a lot of days, but in those you think about the real meaningful moments, maybe your birthday or your mom's birthday or your brother's birthday or whatever it might be, that, you may only have this many birthdays left to celebrate them. And I get it from our perspective, like we can celebrate every day and there's a lot more to it, but it was just a different perspective of how much time you may have on this earth. And I thought that was an interesting way to look at it.
Gotcha. So I have an interesting thing that this Jason S does that I listened to recently. He was talking about, clearing out the boxes, clearing out the clutter inside of yourself. And he says that what he'll do is he'll take 5 minutes and he'll close his eyes and he'll imagine his mansion, what it looks like inside of him. And he'll go into the door and he'll walk down a hallway or walk whatever room you get drawn to in the space. And then you open up that door and you go into that room and you see all these boxes. Well, you just grab a hold of any box and pop open the lid of it and you just release it over to source. You just release it back to God. That's it. You just let it go. And he says, you do this for 5 minutes every day for a week. And he says, you're going to notice a big difference. And I've gone a little bit extra with that by when I start feeling an emotion that it's like, I don't really care for that emotion. Lack or, any of these emotions. I'm like, okay, where is this box inside this mansion? So I'll find this box. It's like, I've gone on different journeys with it. I was in the basement today, which is not really a basement, but it was like everything had so much dust and cobwebs on it. And it's like, I'm pulling off these lids and removing this stuff. It's like, when I see something like that, to me, it represents something that's been with me for a very long time. It's very old. It may not even be, from my perspective, from this lifeline. So it's letting go of a lot of that stuff. So it's even before I'd be searching for the emotion within myself, like, oh God, like what was the emotional trauma that happened along with that to bring this forth within inside of me for me to carry it this many years. And now it's like, I'm like, okay, where's the box at? Where is it at? So I can go find it. And then it's like, I'm just drawn right to these areas. And I find it interesting because it's like another time I was shown, and it's for me, but it's like I'm up in the attic area and I'm clearing away boxes. And it's like, he says, you'll clear away these boxes and then you'll look around that room and you'll see more doors. And then you'll go into it through another door. So for me, I saw like a hidden area that was into another area. And it's like, I didn't explore it anymore. I think probably puppies disrupted or, changed the focus for a few minutes. So I just find it interesting. It's just another way of looking at things. And it's a short period of time. And if you think about it, you're giving yourself 5 freaking minutes. Like if you can't give yourself 5 minutes, there's a problem, because it should be, I feel like it can be a lot longer than that, but to start out at 5 minutes, it's something easy. It's something manageable.
When you were talking, the immediate thought I had was basement before you even said it, because I'm thinking that, we push that emotion down of the experiences we've had. And I was like, basement, it's dark, it's musty, it's dirty, it's dusty, it's cobwebby, like it's just bleh, right. And then the more you were talking, I'm like, ooh, and then there's the attic, kind of similar, right? And then you
Yeah,
said it, and I was like, yep, yep, totally makes sense. Absolutely.
it does. For me, it does too. I mean, it really does. It just, those areas you get drawn into. I just find it fascinating that things can be so simple and really, and it can make such an improvement with yourself. Simple.
It's very surprising if we give ourselves that 5 minutes of our life, right? 5 minutes of our day, that we think that everything is so important that we cannot give ourselves that amount of time. I mean, I tell people, that you can meditate in 2 minutes. Like, just go to the bathroom and sit there and deep breathe for 2 minutes. That's meditation. 2 minutes, 5 minutes. You have that. You have that.
And maybe simple to us is because we've gone through such a process already. So when I say simple, I don't want someone to get frustrated because it seems like it's not simple. Another thing to recognize that this Jason Estes also said, he said that when we bury emotions, because we do that because we don't have the tools to handle those emotions at that moment. So it's not to beat yourself because you've been, beat yourself up all this time because you've been holding on to these emotions or these triggers or these traumas or anything like that. You just were not emotionally able to handle it at that time.
Right.
And so everything starts coming to surface, right? And people are probably noticing a lot with the way the energies are right now, that more stuff is surfacing. It's more to be looked at. And it's not to be if you look at it from a trauma perspective or a victim mindset, that's hard. But if you look at it from another perspective, it's like, oh, I'm ready to release this now. And it's just something, when he said just release, you just release it. Like before it was like I'd send it to be transmuted and all this other stuff. And it's like, just simply just release it. Just release it to source, to God, to the universe, whatever you believe in.
What I visualize with that being said is that, you open the box. So I think about, we do the same thing with material objects, right? We don't want to look at them because they trigger us. So we put them in a box, but we still keep it. We put it in the basement, the attic, the closet, way in the back of the closet, but we still have that energy around us. And if, with what you're talking about, that process is, you can open the box and see the emotion, the heaviness. Maybe there's some darkness around it, heaviness around it. But, when you're sending it to source, for me, what came to mind was, the sparkly, I don't know if you want to call it like fairy dust, only it's going up and being released, because now it's when you send it to source, it's being transmuted back into love.
Yeah.
So the lightness of that is just like being released.
When you're talking, I'm thinking Pandora's box, right? So it's not something that you have to control. You just open it up and then let it go. Like you just think about holding all that energy inside that box, and all it needed was a lid to be removed, just so it could lift up and go. You just didn't have to carry it anymore.
That's awesome. I love that.
I like it. I liked it a lot too. So it's been a practice of mine, not regularly, but it's been probably like 3 or 4 days. I think I've been doing it. And I'm remembering more often. Of course, I'm doing the same thing before. It's like, and I always find it interesting when I read that other people are doing the same thing, recommending to make sure your chakras are all clear and open. Some people say don't have them open. I'll just tell anybody, you go by what how you feel. It's like all your answers are within yourself. We're just given information that you probably have been asking about, and then this information comes forward, gives you something to look at, and then you'll totally do something totally different. That was the one thing I got caught up in all the time, was having to do things the same exact way that the other person was doing and expecting to get the same result. It's not going to be the same because we're all different and we have different guidance. And I've noticed by being free with that, I get so much different information that comes, and it's just like, Jason provided this information than what he did. And it's like, I just want to hold another extra I mean, maybe he's doing the same thing, but it took me an extra distance. It grabbed a hold of me, and I went and added a whole different flair for myself. So everybody's going to find something that works better for them. This is, like you always say, it's not the end all be all. It's not. It's just information. It's just a seed. It's just like getting a wedge in there into that door so you can open it up, and like, instead of shutting it all the time, and be able to release a lot of this stuff and live a happier life.
And
No matter how many birthdays we have left.
right. And then, and you're going to use, people will use a technique for a while. Like you practice it for a while, and then you get to the point where, okay, I'm ready for something a little more. Right. And so just knowing that you may not use one technique for the rest of your days here. And the other thing, you said use what works for you is, when I first started this journey of my emotional healing and self-reflection and all that, I had a reading with a psychic medium, and she was very adamant that I was a healer and teacher. And I just told her, fuck off. I'm like, no, I'm not. I ain't doing it. Right. So I was just like, I was adamant I was not doing it. Here we are. Anyway, but what she told me is, she goes, you're going to create your own. She goes, you're going to have all this information coming at you. You're going to soak it all up, but you're going to end up like creating your own. And that's what you were just saying is, just because I teach it this way doesn't mean that's the way to do it for you. And so this is where creativity comes into play, is like, use your creativity to mesh it where it works for you, and it's fun and it's easy and it's simple and it's enjoyable. I think that's a really big keyword, is make it enjoyable. If it is not something that feels good to you to do, a practice doesn't feel good to you to do, and you can't find a way to tweak it to help it feel good, then find a new technique. Right? Don't try to struggle with it and push through it, because that's just going to deter you from wanting to continue.
And then of course it's not fun. And then so you end up going backwards. You don't end up going forwards. But then there's something to look at with that too. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's like, why am I doing this? Self-sabotage. I can talk about that. It's one thing. It's been procrastination. I've done it a lot. And it's like, I recognize it. I believe that if I'm procrastinating, that means I'm also putting off my intuition. So when my intuition gives me this guidance, I'm also putting that guidance off as well. Because if I'm procrastinating, I'm not listening to that voice inside of me that's guiding me to the next part, which goes back to the whole thing. If I'm walking through my mansion and I'm looking at these boxes because if somebody gave me this gift so that I can look internally and see things a little bit differently. And if I don't listen to that little intuition, that little guidance that takes me in a different place, and I think I have to be in this one place, you don't ever get a complete resolution, I don't believe, because you've got this information and you're constantly shutting the door on it. I'm constantly getting this information. I too had seen a psychic. I had had a reading done when I was in Phoenix. And she's like, well, you're going to do great healing. And I'm like, okay. And I said, well, I have done Reiki 3, I've done all the classes. I'm not a master teacher, but I said that I've done that. She says, no, you'll be doing something much bigger than that. And I'm like, okay.
Whatever.
I mean, and that was probably, gosh. And I feel like maybe I'm just on this space where I'm actually really following it and not putting it on the back burner, because I've cut a partner with me. That he's constantly guiding with me, my boyfriend, he's constantly guiding me and telling me, hey, look at you're procrastinating right now. Oh, that's the excuses you're telling yourself, but he doesn't say it in a rude way. Right. He just brings it in a playful way. So it makes it nice for me to look at and say, gosh, I am doing that. Go, oh, I am doing that. So it's nice but I'm also in a space that I can hear that. Before I would have been, and I'm not saying that I don't get defensive sometimes, because I probably still do. I say probably still do, which means I fucking do. Okay. That's just the bottom line. That's just bullshit I'm telling myself right there.
I love it. I love when we can own it. It's like, damn it, I'm fucking doing it, man.
Yeah.
And I know true. I'm doing it.
I'm better about it. I feel that I'm new and improved, but there's always room for improvement. So And it's nice when someone can, gently guide you, and that you're, loving and honoring yourself and recognizing, I am doing this stuff. This is the stuff okay. Yeah, I am doing that. I keep putting myself off. I've recognized a lot of things I do. It's kind of actually caught me off a couple of times, like, whoa, that's what you're doing. It's coming forward again. Like, we go back to the earlier part of this conversation. It's coming forward because I'm ready to let it go.
Yeah. And just like any other practice, it's that internal asking, and you're just like, okay, I've done these practices, but I feel like there's something, there's another piece, or there's another step, or there's something different I could do, because what I'm doing right now, I'm kind of maybe hitting a wall, or feel like I'm not moving forward with it. And so then you ask, right? Internal asking, and then this new process comes up, and it's telling you, okay, well, just go in your mansion and open a box. And you're like, what? It can be that simple? Well, yeah, of course it can be. Of course it can be. And I'm the type of person, I'm like, if it's simple and easy, I'm there. I'm on it. I'm open for that. When things start getting complicated and too intricate, I'm shut down. I'm out. So it's allowing and being open to different processes, and just giving it a go, right? And experience it. And if it works, great. If it don't work, great. Ask again.
It's true. And it's just being open to that information, because it's coming in all the time. And that's one thing I've recognized. And I say that. And then there's some days when I'm shut off from it, because I shut myself off from it. I'm in a pissy mood, or, I'm depressed or whatever, which is something to look at more within, instead of trying to look further for more other information. It's just more of a within stuff. It's as simple as going and looking for those boxes again, or not even looking. I just ask for it to, show me where it's at. So, and which is pretty easy. You talked about like listening to certain things and having certain tools. So we have certain tools, we use it until we don't need it anymore, then we put it away. And that's the same thing with speakers. You find different speakers, you love listening to them, you're drawn to them, you can totally absorb them like every moment of the day, and then all of a sudden you don't need that anymore. And it's not anything wrong with the person that you were listening to. It just means that you've evolved past that space, and now you're ready for your next teacher. But if you want to hold on to that teacher and not let it go, then you're not allowing the next teacher to come in. And that goes on with anything. If you're holding on to a job, if you're holding on to a relationship, if you're holding on to stuff, then you don't allow, we've talked about it all the way back to clothes. If you're holding on to clothes, you have a full closet of stuff you don't even wear, you don't even care for, but you just won't let it go. You don't allow yourself. You're not, we'll get rid of allow. You're not putting yourself in a position for new stuff to come in, because your closet's full already. So it's creating space so that more stuff can come in. New stuff can come in. And that goes with everything. Creating space. If you're done with a teacher, it's being like, man, that was awesome. Be appreciative, be thankful, and like, be excited. What's coming next? Who's the next teacher that's coming to me? What's the next wardrobe that's coming to me? What's this next relationship look like? Because I can go back to relationships easily. There's so many people that have held on to these relationships, and then they beat themselves up for the decisions that they made to even be in that relationship. But it's like, what did you get out of that? Because you're negating everything that was positive you got from that, because you're going to create the relationship that you do want. Because a lot of times we don't know what we want unless we've experienced something that we don't like. And if we don't like it, then it makes us think, well, gosh, what would make me feel better? What would I like? Well, I would like someone that's, there for me all the time, or that I'm there for them, and that we love each other. It just creates a whole new spectrum of the relationship. And it doesn't mean the next one's going to be the end all be all either, because you're still learning about yourself and the other person. So you just kind of figure out what you want all the way along the way without holding on to it.
Yeah. Oh man, I could go in so many different directions. First thing I want to say is when you said you corrected yourself, and it was great. But when you said I go looking for these boxes, no, I let them be revealed. Big difference, right?
Yeah.
Because we have so many layers of that particular situation or that particular emotion. And it's just like if we were, I don't know, digging up a box in the backyard, that we have to get through the layers of the earth, right, to get to that box. And so instead of looking for the most painful, excruciating experience to heal that there might be layers above that. So let it be revealed to you of what your next step is, instead of trying to push through and dive into the hardest part, because sometimes we can't handle that hardest part right now. And when we're in a space to be able to look at that hardest part, then it will be revealed. Right. And at that time, it's going to be an easier, I find it to be an easier process, because I'm in a different space with myself, that it's easier for me to look at those heavier experiences or traumatic experiences, because now I can see it differently than if I was still in that heavy emotion and looking at that traumatic experience. I gotta still have blinders on, because there's things I don't want to acknowledge. So I love that you said that. I'm not going to look for it. I'm going to let it be revealed. I'll let the box be revealed.
And then if you think about it, so if you, I mean, I could go kind of dark on this one, but if you think about it, a lot of times it's the layers that came first anyways. It wasn't, sometimes it's not always the trauma that happens immediately. It's a pedophile grooming, you know what I mean? So it starts out simple stuff, and it's like looking at a lot of that stuff helps. It may have seemed like it was innocent and everything else, but looking at that, because then it's like, oh my gosh, I succumbed to that. I believe that. You know what I mean? I couldn't trust my own intuition. Well, we were guided, you know, especially when you're a child or anything like that. So it's a lot of times it's not going directly to a trauma, because it is going through those little layers before it. And it's the layers that we've held on to, maybe not recognizing that that's how we held on to it. And then it goes all the way back to forgiving yourself, because that's, you know, when someone says, I don't need to forgive myself for that. Well, but you, at some point, there were some things that you felt like you could have done differently, or, you know what I mean? There's just it's each person's journey. But I will tell you, for me, that's where it comes all the way back to forgiving self again. And forgiving self, I think I've heard, I don't know if you said it, but I know I've heard a lot of people say it. You can forgive yourself, and it frees everybody else from you. You don't have to go down this big, long list of all these people to forgive. You forgive yourself, and it like lets everybody else, it just forgives everybody else too. It just sets them free.
Yeah, it's really an amazing process.
It is.
I mean, I took a class, and they're like, okay, make a list of everybody you think you need to forgive. And so, you know, everybody's writing like crazy. And then they're like, okay, put your name at the top of the list. And my attention went, excuse me? You know, like, what are you talking about? Forgive myself. Yeah. And we have resistance to that, because we're like, well, I didn't do it. They did that to me, and I didn't do anything wrong and all. But then when I really think about it, it's like, well, no, there's things that there were decisions I made that led me to that situation. So it's not necessarily the situation. It's the decisions I made prior to that situation that led me to there. Right. And so, and then recognizing that we are given the experiences that are going to help us grow and expand if we so choose. And that's key. If we so choose, we can stay in the victim of it. We can stay in the blame of it. We can stay stuck in the energy of it. We can pack that box up and store it way down deep inside in that basement, in the far corner of a hidden doorway in tunnel. Right? We can do all that. And that's a choice. Absolutely. But at the same time, that energy is still with us. And it's clogging, like you're saying earlier, it's clogging the ability to really embrace the fresh and new and allowing it in, because we have this stuff over here stirring. And even though we're not giving direct attention to it, it's still there, right? It's that chatter in the head, or the stories we're telling us, or there's you're still getting, your buttons are still getting pushed by other people, and you're irritable and angry and you don't know why. Well, you can go check your basement or your attic, right? So
yeah. And I mean, it's easy to go down all those other paths. It really is. I feel like all this stuff could be done more gently in a more loving manner. But I think that we've had such an expectation forever. I mean, way beyond us, way beyond our existence or in this lifeline. I feel like it's been going on forever that we feel like it's got to be these hard things and these things that are just really pull at your heartstrings or feel like they destroyed you. And I don't think it has to be that way. I really do think it could be a lot easier, it just can be a lot easier. It can be more gentle and more loving growth. But it's like a lot of us learned, what's the words? Oh, I always learned the hard way. That was a lot of the words that people that I mean, that was what my words were. That's what I claimed. That's how
I'm
I learned. Oh,
stubborn.
yeah, but that's the way that I learned. That's the way I would say I learned it. That's, you know, had to be, they said, no, don't do it. I had to go freaking do it and see for myself. And it's not I don't think it has to be harsh. If I'm not coming from a defensive way, it might be a lot easier to be able to go through these growths instead of, and then going back to forging through or pushing through everything. It's like everything is happening at the divine moments. And the thing is, I would go back to the procrastination because I've been good at it. It's like, am I procrastinating dealing with a lot of this stuff? And it's like, it's not always easy to see. I mean, for me, it hasn't been easy for me to see that I was doing it to myself. And then those feelings make you feel, gosh, it makes you feel like a prisoner. You feel trapped. It feels heavy. It feels stagnant, stuck. I mean, there's like a million words I could use that goes along with that. You think, and you've said before that it goes with control. When you're procrastinating, you're doing practicing control, really. But for me, it's like if you don't even recognize you're doing it, it's like you don't even, like, it doesn't feel like a control thing as much as I mean, I know it is in some cases, but it doesn't feel like it is so much in when you don't have an awareness of it that you're controlling it. I don't know, that's not coming across right. It's just, for me, it just didn't feel like it was all control. Some of it's just like such a routine, such habits. And then once removing it, it's like, oh my gosh, when I start recognizing I'm doing this and I start going the opposite direction, it feels so good.
Mm.
But it's making me really look at myself when these procrastination things. Well, so I've had two people recommend something for me to do recently for some class to go to. And I had already been thinking about it, and I had got the excitement about it. And then I talked myself out of it, which we've talked about probably last couple of weeks, talked myself out of it. And then it's like, no, Freeman says, like, you should really, think about doing it. And I go on there and I'm looking at the class and I'm going to pay for this class, which, it's a little bit up there, but I'm going to go pay for this class. And it's like, I started paying attention to the energy in my body. I get a little bit of nervousness, a little anxiousness, a little excitement. Like, there's all these feelings that are going on, but I wouldn't have paid attention to it if I didn't set with those feelings, how it feels within inside myself. Just like there's another thing that I'm getting ready to go do. And it's like, when you really stop and before I would have automatically gone to the mind and talked myself out of it, or I don't need to go do any of that kind of stuff, I don't, or that's way too expensive or whatever conversation I had to talk myself out of it. Although my intuitive guidance has given me this information, and then I started paying attention to how I'm feeling it in my body again. It's like, oh, it's exciting. The first thing I was like, every time I thought about, I hadn't even clicked the pay button yet, and I was like,
Woo.
yeah. I kept catching myself taking these deep sighs like that. And it's like, there's so much information. If you pay attention to yourself, there's so much information that's coming from yourself for yourself.
Right.
It's so crazy. And then it's like, I'm realizing, okay, this is excitement. It's not just nervous. It's not just anxious. It's not just like, oh God, shouldn't do it. No, I didn't dig deeper. I just sat in the energy of it and felt how it felt.
And that's a good moment too to go unpack a box, right? To
Oh yeah.
explore that. Well, where's that box at? So I can lift that, because I just want to, share that anxiety and excitement are the same sensations in the body. It's how we're perceiving the situation. And so, in that moment, it's like, well, I'm feeling anxious about hitting the pay button. And instead, if you take that moment and go, this is so freaking cool. This is how it came to me, how it was shared with me, how I've been led to it. This is so exciting. Pay, right? That's how, like teachers and speakers, if you really want to see somebody who's good at this, you just got to watch Dean Graziosi. He could get you fired up and so excited about something that you can't wait to go hit the pay button. And then for most people, it's buyer's remorse. Then they start beating themselves up for paying and, paying that money to go do something. So again, it's like sitting with it, and why am I feeling this way? And why was I so excited about it? And now I'm having regrets, right? And so it's, again, unpacking a box, looking at it. And there's people who when they see something they want, they buy it right now. And then there's other people who have to sit with it. They have to really, check their finances. They got to check how they feel. Am I really going to be able to commit to this? Do I have the time? Right? They analyze it and all that. So it's recognizing what type of person you are, but also recognizing, I just really want to, make sure that people understand that anxiety and excitement are the same sensations in the body. And when you get excited about something, that's spirit is excitement. Spirit's like, woo, let's do this. This is so cool. Our human side talks us out of it because what if it doesn't turn out right? What if I just wasted money? What if I just wasted my time? What, right? And now we go out on that what if avenue. And I've been there many times. So I get it.
And the other part of that conversation would be, what if I do this and it's freaking amazing?
Exactly.
How exciting is this? And it's like, as I've made the decision to do this class, I keep getting a list of people like, oh, that person could go on the list, because I have to work on certain people that, that's 25 people before I could even take the level 2 or go up to the next level. So it's working on, it's like, I'm already getting a list. I'm getting excited about it. It's like noticing how you're feeling about stuff. Also, remembering everyone's got this label, and I use the empath label too. An empath for me, or to me, is someone that can feel someone else's energy, their anger, their pain, you just automatically lock into that person so well. So when you have someone that's super excited and can really have a great energy, and they know how to use their energy. I'm not saying that he uses his energy, or if we're talking about Dean, I'm just saying that someone knows how to maintain their energy, be in a high vibration. You can get excited by their energy,
right,
and then make a decision right away. But then if you're doing that, it's almost from an empathic standpoint. It's almost from feeling someone else's excitement about it, because he is excited about it, but that doesn't always mean that's everybody's path. So
right.
In this recognizing, like you said, what you automatically said, sit with it. And that's what I would say again, sit with it and see how you feel about it. If your mind starts talking you out of it, it's like, well, why is, like you said, go back to the boxes, see where that's coming from. But it's like seeing where those feelings are coming from. It wouldn't be, I feel like a lot of these things are in your experience because that's the next step. This is the next thing. And now maybe it's going to be a bunch of people listening to Dean Graziosi, period, just because the name's been put out there. Oh, that's the third time I've heard it. I guess I better go listen. Of course, as you graduate on the path, you don't wait till the third time anymore. You just automatically do it. Things become simpler. You don't have to have the brick doesn't have to fall out of the wall onto your head while you're looking up something and your head hits the page where you wrote down Dean Graziosi.
Right.
That it doesn't have to be that dramatic. It can be so much easier, and it's happening all the time.
And somebody probably needs to hear this for their business, because otherwise we would be talking about it. Just saying.
Absolutely. Yeah. No. It's true. So it's just an exciting path. I said before, we've left ourselves all these breadcrumbs everywhere. Our dates of birth, our time of birth, the numbers, like everything that's coming into your experience. And it's funny. It's not funny. It's exciting, because I see people, like I have clients, and she's like, one of them's like, oh yeah, I started seeing triple numbers everywhere and stuff. And it's like, yeah, I remember that time, when that first started showing up, when you would see it. I also remember back to a time where Jim, before he had passed, he had said something, because he'd say 1, 2, 3, 4 all the time, and he'd see these numbers all the time, and we would talk about stuff, and I would tell him all my experiences. Like, man, I just hope that I figure this out. He says, I don't know if there's really anything to these numbers at all. Well, already, if he was processing it or even thinking about it, it was already presenting itself to him. So it's just up to any person to look at that. Really, it is. It's just, if you want to take the time and look at something, that's just like taking the time looking at yourself. It's just taking the time to hear the words that you're saying. It's taking the time to take that 5 minutes and go into your mansion and expose a box. Taking a couple minutes when you go to the bathroom to close your eyes and breathe and just meditate. It's just taking the time for yourself.
Yep, for sure. And then it get so excited about this now that we see experiences. Well, we do the what if avenue, right? So basically, what if this fails, then I'm still not good enough type of story. But what I am seeing more and more through inspirational leaders and teachers and even in the business world is every day go out and fail at something, or acknowledge that you failed at something. Because even when we fail at something, we're really not failing. We're gaining information. We're gaining an idea. Well, I'm just not good at that, right? And so I know that's not a strong point for me. Or, well, I listened to this person, I went and did it, but I wasn't listening to my own intuition. So there's always, anytime anything doesn't work out the way you think it should or you expected it to, it's a learning experience for yourself to grow. And those are amazing. I always called them golden nuggets. Those are amazing golden nuggets to hang on to. So even if you attempt something or try something or pay for something and then it doesn't work out, it's okay. You still gained a lot of information. And you're still just as amazing as you were before. Right. And
it's true.
And it's along with that is having a support system who is going to be there and walk that journey with you, or lift you up, or give you some, remind you of who you are. And so, you're going to get through it. If you've lived this long, you can look at all the shit you've been through already. You're like a rock star.
It could be so much more fun. If you think about it, we forget that we had to learn how to walk. We had to learn how to crawl. We had to do all these things, but we didn't think. If you think of babies sitting around thinking, oh, man, I got to walk today. I don't even know. I don't know if I even have it in me to try to do
I have enough diaper padding on.
Yeah. Man.
Where's my helmet so I don't hurt my head?
I just don't think I can pull myself up today. I mean, we just didn't think that way. It was part of the journey. It's part of the excitement. All this exciting. There was no fail. You got up and you fell down. You got up and you fell down. Oh, look at, I made 3 steps. Like, you know what I mean? We go all the way back to that time frame. It's been taken too seriously. And it's because we've been taught to take it too seriously. So it's up to you to learn how to be not so serious. It's up to you to find the excitement in every day. When we were talking about the what if thing, it just takes me, and I'm sure someone already does it, but it's like, take a piece of paper, put a line down the middle of it, put what if, and put all the freaking things you think could go wrong if you what ifed. And then on the other side, put what if, and what if everything went exactly the way you think it could possibly go, or even better, like blow your freaking minds.
Right.
And then fold that paper.
Fold that paper.
Fold that piece of paper lengthwise in half, and then only look at the side that, what if I did all this stuff and this is how it turned out, how great it would be. That's what I would do.
Yeah, absolutely. And be in the energy of that list.
Exactly.
Because it's 2 different energies.
Yep, it totally is.
The one side energy holds you back, keeps you stuck, keeps you procrastinating, keeps you in fear, keeps you in anger, keeps you in the stories of I'm not good enough. But the other side is like, wow, this is encouraging. This is exciting. This is fun. This is creative. And that's what that side is, the side our spirit wants us to be on. And spirit is full of creativity. So it's embracing the creative side of us. Now we think when years ago, when I would think about creativity, I would think about being an artist of some sort or musician or something, right? And or a writer. And it was like, oh my gosh, yeah, I don't have any of that in me. However, I'm creative in learning, or creative in solving problems. I'm creative now in my business, creating classes and putting all that together. I'm creative in like in 2020, I was creative in learning all these, programs and making them talk to one another. So we are creative beings. You just may need to change the way you're seeing how you're being creative. If you're in a job, you're creative in your job. You just need to identify how you're being creative in your job or in your family dynamics.
It's true. And then of course you think about it, then it's like the stuff I've been reading today being the 2/22 of 2022 it is creating.
Okay.
And so we're master creators. So it's paying attention, and that's every moment, but it's like paying attention to every moment that what you're creating. Are you creating happiness? Or are you creating from a place of lack, unhappiness, anger? I mean, whatever your feelings are, and by how your emotion is, one feels good and one doesn't feel good. Finding a way to get yourself into a feel good place. You talked last week, watching things that are funny, listening to comedy, watching kittens and puppies playing or running around. There's just so many different ways. Listen to a child laughing, their giggles, like that uplifts everybody. I mean, I feel like that uplifts everybody. It's just like the music to my ears, but there's so many different ways. And it's like, pay attention to what you're creating. We're master creators. This is our moment, right? This moment all the time. And that what if game, playing that what if game with yourself, and you're creating, well, what if this happened? Like, phenomenal stuff. You're writing your own freaking book. How exciting do you want it to be? Do you want it to be, oh, well, it was stable and I made it and things were always taken care of? Or do you want it to be exciting and be like, oh my God, like I went off on this whim and did this thing, and it's like, holy shit, I've got all these people that are coming to me. They want to see me and I'm helping them, and it's helping me. It's like a give and take. It's just wonderful. Like there's so much excitement to be had instead of being comfortable, staying in the same old blah all the time, the same old comfort, really.
Yeah, the energy of the twos is new beginnings. And I've seen countless posts on social media about people making changes, moving like to a different state, starting a new venture. Like, I've seen so much of that in the past week. And what I keep messaging every one of them is, of course, I'm excited for them. I'm like, I'm looking forward to hearing about this new chapter in your life. You're the author. Make it amazing.
That's right.
Right. And it's planting those seeds to remind people, like, you are the creator of your life. You are the manifester of your life. You are the author of your book. And so, I personally got tired of reading the same chapter over and over and over again of my stories of the past. I just got tired of reading them myself. I'm like, God, I'm sick of this chapter. And so I'm writing new chapters, right? I'm writing a whole new book, literally, like a whole new book. And I'm created a business, and I have so much happening in these next couple months. Like, I almost got in the sense of overwhelmment, but I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, time out. I'm the creator of my life. I asked for this. I asked for all of these pieces that are coming to me right now. But then I get into, I start getting in that sense of, this is a lot to do in a short amount of time. And I got to do this, and I got to do this, and I got to do, and then I got to come back to this. And then I was like, whoa, time out. Trust the process. When you trust the process, everything's going to work out divinely. It's going to be perfect in its own way. And and knowing like the universe has brought me to this point. The universe has said, okay, I hear your prayers. I hear what you're asking for, and here it is. Now let's work on it together. I'm not a solo person. I am a spiritual being, and I have an amazing spiritual team that I have access to. And when I ask, the support shows up. And that is exactly what has happened. Like we came into a little hiccup with something. And so I put out the question, and I've had 2 people step up and go, oh, I can help you with that. I mean, it's that easy. And so just recognizing like, we're not alone. We're not alone in the energetic field, and we're not alone in the physical field. Like we have help and support everywhere. We got to open up our damn mouth and ask.
Or even internally, you can ask internally as well. It's just a matter of asking and then seeing how it plays out and letting it go, not even thinking about it, and go on to the next thing.
So, but it's so fun. And now, now I'm like back into the excitement of it, the creativity of it, the support that showed up, the I mean, just, I'm so excited about what's happening right now. It's like, so I was on a call last night. It was an information call for one of the things I'm involved with. And I walked out the living room. I was like, this is so fucking cool. And my husband's like, what are you talking about? He's just like, thought I'd lost my marbles, but I'm just so excited about it. So, and when we're in that type of energy, it may not be excitement, but some joy. When we're in that type of energy, oh my gosh, like you want to talk about, you might say they're miracles, but you want to talk about things happening in amazing ways. That is so fucking cool. So
It's
cool.
divine. Yeah, it's divine guided, and always falls into place easily. When you think about it, when you get into that overwhelmed place, it's also, remember, again, you are a creator, not saying to you, but to anybody else just listening, you're a creator. You can create the time for yourself. If you want time, I've got plenty of time to take care of myself, and I do. You know what I mean? It's you create that time. It's not having to look at your calendar, because I hear people saying this. I'm just remembering hearing it. Oh, I don't even have any space on here. Well, then you create the time. You don't have to create the time. As far as when I'm saying create the time, it doesn't have to be I'm creating the time on my schedule. You can do it that way off in the future and start creating it where you have openings. But you can also do it right now by saying I'm going to create the time, and something's going to open up. Somebody's going to cancel, and you automatically got the time without you having to orchestrate every single freaking detail of it. You don't have to have all that control. It's just knowing what you want. So it's the same thing in a relationship, a job, and anything, even in our relationship with ourselves. It's taking that time in that moment, finding out, what do I want? It's just paying attention to yourself right now. Oh, I don't feel good. Well, what's going to make me feel better right now? Okay, I need a few minutes to breathe, or I need a day, or whatever that looks like for you. And then it's like setting it in your mind, not from a victim standpoint, because if you do from a victim standpoint, you're going to stay in a victim standpoint.
Yeah.
Because then the time's never going to present itself to you, because you can't see solutions from that mindset. It's not like, don't beat yourself up for being in that place, but you can recognize where you're at and want more. But it's a lot easier than a lot of us have been led to believe, leading ourselves to believe.
And even when I was starting to get into that overwhelmed state, less than 5 minutes to recognize, right? Take a breath, recognize what I'm feeling, recognize where it's coming from, recognize what I'm doing energetically within myself, recognizing my mindset, and shifting it. Less than 5 minutes. So it's important that when something is stirring in you and making you uncomfortable, sit with it. Just sit with it and go, okay, why is this coming up? Or what could I do differently? How can I shift my energy? How can I see this differently? How can I think about this differently? And just make that adjustment. Yeah, I got 5 minutes. Y'all, every one of you have 5 minutes, because you're spending a lot of time on social media scrolling. And if you can do that, here's what was presented to me a long time ago. You're going to make time for what's important to you. And when that was presented to me, I was like, oh, That was like a slap in the face. Like, it was more like a throat punch. I was like, oh, damn, right? Because procrastination is saying this isn't important to me. Even though I want it, it's not important. And so I'm going to push it off because I don't feel like I deserve it. I'm just going to keep pushing it off, even though I really want it, but I'm going to push it. Right. So it's just this crazy cycle. And then sitting with that and go, okay, well, why am I pushing this away when I really want it? Why am I in overwhelm and pushing all this exciting stuff that's stirring right now? Why am I pushing that away when I really want it? Right? That's opening one of those boxes. And it's okay. It's okay to feel that. It's okay to go through that, but you have 5 minutes to sit with it. And in probably less time than that in actuality. If you're really interested in yourself and in your growth and in your expansion and how you operate. When I started learning about how I was operating, I was so intrigued by it. I thought it was the most amazing thing that going back to the grooming, like a pedophile can groom you and then take advantage of you. And so it was like, when that was presented to me a while back, and I was like, no shit, they groom us? I thought that was, is it sad? Yeah, it's got his negative side, but I was just like, we do that. Commercials do that. Social media does that. We are being groomed. As long as you're giving attention to it, we are being groomed by what's being presented to us all the time, every day. Yep. And to me, I find that intriguing and interesting, and I want to know how I'm operating so that I can make that I am in control of me, of making those shifts within myself to do it differently, and to be able to recognize that those things are happening, go, oh no, we ain't got time for that, player, we're doing this.
Yeah.
And making a shift within myself.
It's true. We've been being groomed long before our ancestors, and it's like it's been going on for in so many aspects. Fear is a very controlling thing, and it's like I recognize it, have recognized it within myself, just what I do to myself out of fear. And we talked not that long ago about just watching my grandkids, how they're walking around and doing stuff, and I was like, oh, you're gonna fall down. Well, if they're gonna fall down, they're gonna fall down, they're gonna get back up. You know what I mean? So, but it's like I'd watch, and it's like, no, every time it's like blows my mind to sit and watch how many times you could be on the edge of something and then still stay on your feet the whole time without planning anything.
They're learning balance. They're learning, maybe how to tuck and roll, but you know what? Their fall down is a lot easier than our fall down. It's a lot harder now.
we just gotta tuck and roll. That's all.
Yeah. As we get older, that technique is really important.
And that's a whole nother thing too. If you want to talk about grooming, we can talk about grooming about age. We've been groomed to believe that we age. And it's like, I don't think that we have to be any of the things that we're experiencing these days as we age, what they call aging, we don't have to experience. We've been groomed to believe that that's the possibility. So with that being said, how are you going to create differently? I mean, what are you going to make it look like differently? And that's what I've been practicing even with myself. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how things transform. I'm not going to give any, like, if I find something that works for me, I'm definitely going to share it, of course, but I'm just seeing how it goes. We'll see what turns out. If people start recognizing or noticing different things that are changing and stuff, then I know that it's working. It's because I'm, going into each one of those boxes, knowing what you're looking for sometimes in these boxes too. What emotion and what age, and it's like, what energy are you giving towards aging and stuff, man? Because there's some people that have aged that don't look like they've aged ever. So, I mean, I think that everybody could be that way, but that goes back to the whole grooming thing. And that goes back to paying attention to what you're giving your energy to. What do you believe? What are you thinking? How does that energy feel? Like, it's such an awareness of self.
Yep. I agree with that. I feel like, I'm excited about aging. Actually, I'm excited about the direction of my life now. I'm excited about maturing and being even more wise than I am now, and all the experiences that are to come. And there's people in my immediate experience that are seeing getting older as a bad thing. I can't do
Oh,
anything about that. I can only, be in my own energy of excitement about this process of life. And again, it goes back to, look, I only have 40 Christmases left. So what am I going to do with this time? Am I going to make it amazing and make it, it's not about the quantity of time, it's about quality of time. And what am I going to do with it? And that's my choice. And then the other people around me are like on the saw, I don't know what word to use. It's just like, it's almost depressing because I'm watching them and they're deteriorating and there's no joy in it. There's no, it's just like I'm existing. And I remember, maybe that's why it bothers me, because I used to be that way. I'm just existing. I'm having these experiences and I'm existing. And it sucks. It sucked at the time. And now that I have a different mindset, different connection with myself and my life, that now it's exciting. So, it's what do we got going on up here in our head?
and it's just when you're saying that, I'm just thinking it's to love and honor that person that is choosing to deteriorate. It's because we're all on these different paths. We're all on a different path. I mean, I think we're all evolving to the same place, but we're just at different, I don't even want to say stages, because it makes it almost sound like one's better than the other, because none's better than the other. One feels better than the other, and that depends on who you are. But
Yeah.
it's even the whole aging thing, that's a lot of fear stuff. For me, even thinking about, oh, I only have 40 more birthdays, that's kind of, for me, it feels almost fear-based, like it's controlling you. Oh, I better do something because I only have this much time left. That feels a little bit of fear to me. I'm just saying that's how it feels for me. It doesn't, I don't mean that's how it feels for anybody else. But we have, all we really have is this moment right here.
Right.
I can't even plan on 40 birthdays, or I may not even be here for my next one. I plan on being here. I mean, I would love to be here for a very long time because I'm learning so much and I want to keep learning and I want to share that knowledge and I want to be part of the growth and the evolution. But it's like, I really don't know how long I'm going to be here. So I'm going to celebrate. I'm learning to celebrate every moment.
And that's true. We have this moment. And the idea of and I think that's why I put it in the way I did. It's like, it's not about, oh my God, I only have 40 birthdays. What am I going to do? It's okay. What am I going to do with the quality of time that I have left? So that's it, to me, is a different energy. And that comes back to what you said. It's like, well, in order to make the time I have meaningful to me, then it is about embracing this moment.
Yeah.
So in this moment, it's embracing our conversation. And then when I get done here, it's going to be in the creativity of getting this podcast put together so it can post. And then it's going to be working on my business and my book. And then it's going to be, hanging out with my husband. So it's like, in the moment is where the quality of time comes from. What am I going to do with that time so that it feels amazing to me? So I can honor myself in that time. And one of the things, just I wanted to hit on this too before, when you were talking about procrastination, like I have a notebook, and on one side's like my to-do list in different categories. And then I also have my appointments on it. So like everything's right there on one page. And there was a point in time that I was allowing myself to get distracted instead of focusing on what I needed to do for that day to help me move forward with my business and stuff. I would scroll social media, or I would find something to, distract me, to keep me from taking those action steps and moving forward. So what I did is, in big capital letters, I put focus on the paper, focus. So every time I looked at it, I saw this word focus, and then I'm like, okay, focus, what am I going to do next? And so I would do that, and then I'd look over and focus, and then I'll do the next thing. So that helped me. And then another, just remembering, I'm going to make time for what's important to me. I'm going to make the time for the things that are important to me. And so those two things keep me on track. And it is about momentum also, because if I show up in my business and I work today, and then tomorrow I'm getting distracted and I'm pushing, experiences away, and I'm doing other stuff, now I've decreased the momentum. And then I show up for a week and things are good, but then I get distracted and I'm taking my focus. The momentum of it is what, and it's in anything of your life, any part of your life, that momentum is so important, and that you focus, if that's the direction you want to go, that you have focused energy on it. So
Awesome.
my 2 cents.
So I just remind everyone that we really never have an end. So we're always evolving every moment. We're always, even when we're not in a physical body, we're still evolving. So just enjoy every moment. I would say enjoy every moment. There is no end. You don't get it done in this physical body. There's other things that you're gonna be doing or looking at.
Yeah.
Just enjoy every moment. Be the master creator.
And unpack the damn boxes.
Absolutely.
All right, my friends, thank you for hanging out with us with Tea Time with Amie and Bev. You could be doing anything else with your time, but you chose to hang out with us. So we do appreciate your time and energy. And people that could benefit from this information that we share. So please share it. You can find us on all kinds of platforms of YouTube, Facebook, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, and Podcast Addict. And so there's no excuses. We're everywhere. You can also reach out to us in email. So amieandbev@gmail.com, and leave us comments or questions with our posts, which we'd love to hear from you. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care. We'll see you next week.
Bye.